Hey guys, it's your girl, author Nicole D. Miller, and this is my debut novel, When Love Wins. When Love Wins is an urban Christian fiction story detailing the storyline of two young female cousins with a rift in their relationship when Natalie, the faith based social justice advocate writer, loses her mother. She moves in with her cousin Ashley, the urban socialite fashionista, but instead of a warm welcome, she gets an icy cold one from Ashley. Is there more to the story? Of course there is. You can learn more at whenlovewins.love. All right, guys, let's get started. Hey, Google, pause. So, as you guys know, every week I piggyback off of my latest blog. This week, the name of the blog is The In Crowd. So, in this blog post, I'm pretty transparent just about my own journey in being social, and I guess becoming a urban socialite myself. So, some of you guys may be able to relate to this. When I was younger and even in my early adulthood, I definitely faced a lot of rejection and bullying and always felt like I was on the outside looking in. Then, all of a sudden, I found myself on the inside. And it happened really surprisingly for me because that was never necessarily my goal. And it really was in obedience to how I felt like Holy Spirit was leading me. But the interesting thing is, for me to get there, I had to keep facing my old territory or familiar territories where I experienced the initial rejection in my childhood and even some of the same faces. And so it was like God having me face the fear of man. And as I was facing that fear, I was able to walk in freedom. And I know sometimes we can struggle with our fears. And I think one saying that has been really handy in my own personal journey is facing the fear and doing it anyway. So, not letting fear keep you from becoming who you're called to be or doing what you're called to do, but to do it scared. So, I think that's like the saying that I was thinking of. If you're struggling, with fear and it's in opposition of what you know is this burning desire and passion in your heart, my encouragement is to do it scared. I launched my publishing company scared. I started attending networking events scared. I started doing Instagram lives scared, right? And all of that has ultimately led me to so many open doors and opportunities and connecting with like minded, amazing people with platforms. So that kind of brings me back to my blog. So, on my blog, I share about how I always felt like I was on the outside. And then in my adulthood, I was led to face those fears of what I experienced before as far as rejection. And in doing so, in saying yes to purpose, in keeping my head to the ground, my nose to the ground, and being diligent to pursue the dream that God had put in my heart, is when all of a sudden I found myself on the inside. But the dope part about my inside is that these people are so similar to me. They host the same values, the same character, the same mindset. And once again, I found my tribe. And I say once again because I found amazing friendships and people in college, actually, even in the midst of facing rejection from other peers. I found amazing sisters, lifelong sisters and friends who have been, there for me through so many battles, so many storms. And one of the things I'll say is my friends have always been influential. Like I say this in the blog. So whether or not they're on social media, because some of them are not, they are still making moves in their spheres. So another thing that I just kind of touch on in the blog is I reference the movie Mean Girls and how when you watch Mean Girls, especially the new one, me and my friends were watching and discussing this, you see that it's hard being on the inside sometimes. Like, even though they are glamorous, they are popular, they're who everyone's looking at, on the inside, they're not happy. And they do all of this negative stuff and endure all this negative treatment to stay on the inside. So sometimes the inside is not all it's cracked up to be. But I think it takes maturity for us to see that. And one of the things I'll say, because it does surprise me to be on the inside, is because, my goal was never to be on the inside, but it was to run my race. And what I did was I cultivated my own lane, especially becoming an independent author. When I did look into traditional publishing and try to go that route, I realized, oh, I could just do this myself, like I don't need them. And I think that kind of birthed my own brand, my own community. So doing my first book and then publishing my other books, and then that led me to being a publisher for other people, and then starting Girl Talk, and then being a freelance journalist. And it just started like birthing all of these services and ideas, and all of them are under the umbrella of the things that I stand for, which are, faith and sisterhood and hope and encouragement. But then it started attracting other people who were about the same life, who were about that life, right? And then it's like, if one could put 1,000 a flight, two could put 10,000. So it's not just me doing my thing. It's, oh, I'm in a tribe. I'm in a tribe of people doing their thing. And I feel like it's like the heavy hitter lineup for, the playoffs. You guys, I'm not a big sports person. If I'm going to watch anything, it will be basketball, though. That's kind of how the season feels. So I got to share on the highs and the heels of Futureland. If you guys missed it, I am so sorry, because it was just, now this is what my goddaughter would say. It ate down. That's what she would say. But it did. It was amazing. Oh my gosh, such an exhilarating experience. Again, special shout out and thank you to my dear sister Alicia Ellis for seeing, who we are called to be and helping us, step into those spaces. Because I've been on the sidelines of Futureland for years now, just an advocate, proponent, and supporter, for their mission and heart and what they're doing in the city. So to be on the stage was amazing and mind blowing for me. But I also know, like, this is just the beginning. Like, I'm so excited to move into these spaces of being a host. And of course, my baby, Girl Talk, is first and foremost, where I want to be hosting. And so, speaking of Girl Talk, we are gearing up for our next Girl Talk, Women Who Bounce Back. Yes, Women Who Bounce Back. So stay tuned for deets on that. But I am looking for sponsors, you guys. So if you know anyone who'd be interested in being a sponsor, please email me info@ndmillerpublishing.com. All right, that's about it. Check out the blog, The In Crowd, at NicoleDMiller.com, and I will see you next week.